they lied to us. They told us that the only provision a black man can give is money, and we ate it up. They trained us to make finance the primary focus of our relationship with him. They taught us that if he's not giving you money, don't even let him be a father to his child. If he's not giving you money, he has no say so. He can't tell you nothing. If he's not giving you money, he can't make the rules in the house because who's ever making the money makes the rules. They reduced the black man's value to his wallet, and we went along with it.
Well, I agree with everything she's saying here, right? I think we can see how this systemically happened over time. What what black men and men like me aren't really going to let slide is that yes, maybe there was an initial lesson, but then we took it. Us as a people took it and we ran with it. We made it what it is today. We stratified it. We came up with the terms and we added more and more and more layers to the dysfunction. We just don't get to place that blame on what happened generations before because at a certain point in time, yes, the systems are in place, but we engage with them. The choice was made between whether or not you're going to have a black man in the house or government aid. Government aid was chosen. And then again, and again and again and again and again, even to what we see to what we see today, where I don't think there's new lessons being taught. It's the same old program. It's the same old lesson at the very beginning. Money or this. Now we have done the reduction. We reduced black men down to their wallets, down to what they produce, with having a negative lens on them already. We are passing that information on from mother to daughter, and further on. So while this has the veneer of accountability, and we'll get into more of it here, but men are just saying no, you need to take full ownership of that. It's full ownership at this point. When people get on here and say if he's not buying you, paying a bill, taking care of this and this, if he's not Shira sevening it, no, then he's a non-starter. That's on you. That's not for us to come together and say, well, we kind of get it, we understand. No, some problems are going to have to be fixed amongst different genders. And listen, this is not to say I disagree with what she's saying. It's just that I don't think it goes far enough. And guys, before we continue to dissect this, and we'll rewind it back, or we'll let some more of this play out first. Continue to like, comment, subscribe. Send in your video requests. You can shout out to daughter Sarah for sending this one. And it's something that I thought I recorded yesterday and it kind of went haywire, but we'll get into it again. And just, the second time's a charm. So again, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss new uploads. Still trying to go 2 a day, kind of trying to go strong here. Let's continue.
And now we can't even see the priceless value that he brings that has nothing to do with the paycheck. Because a real man brings more than just money, he brings direction, he brings guidance, he brings leadership, he brings protection. But
If these things aren't desired in that sense, right? When we hear women say they want a man's supposed to lead, a man's supposed to provide. And then they define the terms in which that provision and that guidance is supposed to be. I want to be guided, I want to be provided for in the ways that I have indicated. We have to get to the point where, like I was saying earlier, where men and women are separating and having those conversations and defining those roles for themselves. Instead of having a woman say what a real man would do, it has to be understood that no, this is it's like a standard trim on a vehicle. This is what masculinity means to men today. This is how we're going to move forward. More importantly, this is how we're going to hold each other accountable, men to men. We know what the standard is. We set it. We've gotten together. And sometimes in the way this really looks like, it's small communities, it's small groups, friend groups holding each other accountable and letting that sort of proliferate and grow. I'm not responsible for what someone across the nation did. I don't know that man. I don't know his circle. I don't know his upbringing. I don't know his kin. But the more we all get on the same page and saying we're going to have to build this thing together separately, but have this standard. And that's not as a daunting or difficult thing as it sounds. we see it today in terms of when women say the bar is in hell, right? Or men are doing the bare minimum. It's because the bare minimum is successful. Giving you the bare minimum still lets a certain caliber of man get exactly what he wants from you and then simply move on. And unfortunately, it's not just, okay, he got sex from me. No, sometimes it's he's gotten multiple children from us with the bare minimum. So it's still possible to set the standard. We all just have to understand that what it may look like is us going without for such a long time, because that's the only reasonable way you can go back and forth and do this. If I do not get this, then I will have to refrain from that. That's what it means. You have to set that standard. The way we see women saying, yeah, a man has to do this. The problem is the standards are usually those that has to do with money, coffee dates. It has that sort of that value system attached to it, rather than saying that I refuse to date a man that's not caring. No, we see I refuse to date a broke man. And then we'll see the cheers, we'll see the claps, we'll see the agreements, we'll see everything in the comment section, everyone believing in that and saying yes, because I can do for myself what is a broke. When we reduce men down to their wallets, and then when we have this epiphany later on in life that something is wrong, and something needs to be done, it's too late for a lot of us. That's the sad sort of truth, that a lot of us have missed the boat. A lot of us has missed the party. It's not going to happen for us in the way we envision it. Even when you hear that, you hear the term settling, and that is unsettling. But the truth is, some of these decisions need to be made earlier. Some of these decisions, these talks with women need to have been had earlier. You need to have been trained in this sort of idea that, listen, when you get out there, daughter, the world is going to do its level best to make you think of people that look like me, look like your brother, look like your uncle. They're going to do their level best to make you think that they are the worst people on the planet, that these are your predators, that these are ones that wish you bad and will take advantage of you at any second they get. I don't want you to get confused. There are bad people out there. Bad people know no skin color. They know no gender. There are people out here that will try to do you harm, and it's my job to teach you how to best to deal with that. I'm going to show you by how I treat your mother. I'm going to show you how by how I treat you, how I treat your siblings. That has to be the messaging, right? You don't have to take that quoting verbatim, but it has to be along those lines. Instead of what we hear now, men are only good for blah, 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 blah. They only want this from you, blah, 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 blah. Forgetting that you have a father, forgetting that you may have uncles, forgetting that you may have brothers, cousins, such. No, men get this whitewash. They get painted with this broad brush where they are the danger. When you look at men, when you look at them with this lens, and you simultaneously have to deal with your desire for men, but you look at them, you're taught to look at them as poor. Every man simply, you think that every man has to prove himself that he's not your ex, that he's not the predator, he's not the bad man. Think how harrowing, how awful this is in terms of just dating, in terms of just finding someone that's good for you. It becomes becomes what it is today, a near impossibility. So while what she's saying is absolutely factually true, I agree with it. We it does not go far enough. Yes, lessons and teachings were put in place generations ago. Remember, even post slavery, we were married at a higher rate. We were doing well together. We were coupling well. We were doing so well, they burnt cities. They burnt cities. So it's not as if it's impossible, but when the choice was being made between money and a man, some people, I'm not calling these people out and saying that they didn't have reason to say maybe there was abuse, maybe there was harm being done. And they had to make a decision, say, I need to find a way to support these children. And it's not like they are today. I have access to work, I have access to jobs, I have access to accounts. So when you sucked at the teat of government, that became the man, and you became susceptible to his rules. This is now his house. And he says, you can't have that man in here. If I catch him in here, The money I've been supplying you is gone. So that's your boss. That's your daddy. That's the one you have to be at some point beholden to. So when he teaches you a lesson, you have to hear it. So now that becomes very hard. They've done a good job of taking away what a man's just authority and presence in the house. Now they can teach you what they need to teach you. But they only had to do that a few generations ago. After that, you took the message. You became your own jailer. You taught that same thing going on. You don't have to keep going back to the people to teach them or trick them again. You've simply allowed them to trick themselves now. And they continue to do it. They make songs about it. They make movies about it. Tyler Perry made a career about it. You just keep doing that again and again. Yet, from time to time, you'll pop your head above the clouds and say, "Why is dating so difficult? Why is it so awful? Why are we where we are today?" And then your head gets right back down to the clouds, and then you do the same things, you proliferate the same things. One of the things I say to a lot of my female friends in real life when we have the conversation, where the good men at, I say often that the good men avoid you because when you're around your friends and they're dogging men and you say nothing, right? It's, we have a hard time seeing if all you look the same and five out of six people in that group are saying men ain't shit. Why would you think six is different? So they avoid you, right? They've learned to just say the juice isn't worth the squeeze, or I have to be even more discerning in who I approach. I have to do research into you. I have to actually sit there and try to understand how you are. So you go on a date with someone and you don't really know if he's a good guy. You have an inkling of that, but he's watching, he's ascertaining, and you may not meet his qualifications just because he's looking and saying, he's painting with another wide, broad brush and saying, I think you might be one of these. I'm not sure. It's not worth the risk. All this has us on opposite sides of the aisle, unable to do anything, to unable to make any positive movement, because as much as I love her message, this isn't mainstream. This isn't mainstream. These messages, these videos don't really do as well as one would hope. Positive messages where we say we're better together don't really do well. There's is there a reason for that? Is it is the algorithm to blame, or is it just that we don't really pay attention to these things? You guys let me know.